Hello, my name is Sally Pinto, and I'm the Program Director for the Yonkers NORC, Neighborhood Naturally Occurring Retirement Community. We serve seniors 60 plus in Northeast Yonkers. We are under the auspices of WJCS and the Yonkers Office for the Aging. We also have a resource specialist and a nurse on staff. We conduct virtual programming in partnership with the Yonkers Public Library on a daily basis. Enjoy the program.
Much everybody, great to be with you. Great to be with our stunning special team that we got here. You know, the months, the days are getting colder here, getting darker. We're on our way to the darkest time of the year. I even heard, I think, some mention of possibly snow around where I am today. So we're in the thick of it. We're in the cold, and that's a great time to really work on building that inner fire, warming our body up, treating our body well, to get through these colder, darker months when we might not get as much sunlight, might not get out as much. We're cold more often. Maybe that makes us cranky. To treat our bodies well is exactly, I think, the right move. And I'm grateful for you being here to do that, because we couldn't do this if we were not gathering in community here. Digitally, yes, but we are close in body, in spirit, and in mind. And that's what we're doing today. So great as always to be with you all. As I said, we have our simple structure here. We're going to warm up. We're going to do some exercises out of our chair. We're going to do some standing exercises. I have, in honor of the season and the forecast I heard for possibly a little bit of snow, I have a wonderful little poem to reflect on and meditate on at the end, called Winter Poem by Nikki Giovanni. So that's going to get us right into it. Let's get into some warm-ups. And as I've said, I think the last few times, I was grateful to help cover a couple of the sort of yoga classes, doing my own yoga-inspired movements. And I love starting off with some of that basic breathing. I've actually been doing it every morning myself. And it's really helped settle me, calm me down, and done a lot actually for some shoulder and neck crankiness as the months have gotten colder. So I really find starting off with some deep breathing powerful and good for my body. So let's jump into that together. We're going to do that version where we cross our fingers. So we're going to cross our fingers. One tip is to try to always vary which way you do things. So if you start with your right hand, try to start with your left hand. If you do something with your left hand, try to do it with your right hand, whatever it might be. So if you cross your fingers one way all the time, I'd invite you to just shift that interlocking pattern one direction either way. So your hands are nice and fingers are nice and crossed, gently beneath your chin. We're going to take a deep breath in through our nose, and our elbows are going to rise up gently as far as they go. Gentle start to this. You're going to push your head back gently and bring your elbows together. You're sitting nice and tall. And then you're going to inhale the elbows up again. Full deep breath. Big exhale out of the mouth, bringing the elbows forward. Inhale through the nose, deeply into the stomach. Let the elbows float up. Exhale forcefully. And as you exhale, that belly button moves towards your spine. Nice gentle flow on this. Inhaling the elbows up. Exhaling, pushing the neck back gently. Flowing with this on your own for a little bit. Nice circular breathing. Elbows floating up on the inhale. Exhaling, head goes back. Let's do a few more of these just on your own rhythm. One more time, flowing with that. Inhale, elbows are coming up. Deep into the stomach, deep breath. Exhaling all the way back, pushing the breath all the way out. Belly button towards the spine, and you could let your arms fall gently to the side. That's great. Always reminding ourselves of that nice, deep, mindful breathing throughout, breathing into our stomach. Hopefully, when we exhale, that belly button goes towards the spine. That's our good diaphragm breathing that we've mentioned a few times. Okay, moving down our body, that hopefully got a little bit of the chest, shoulders, and neck area warmed up. Let's keep warming that up. We're just going to do some waves. So we're just going to wave goodbye to our friends. So just nice big waves, getting loosened up here, wherever your range of motion is. We're sitting nice and tall though, good posture throughout all these movements. And let's go to what I call givers. So we're just going to give some gifts out. Good time of the year to be giving gifts away to everybody. So as you go out there today, give some gifts out to people you meet. Try to get that palm facing up towards the ceiling. Let's go back to waves for a little bit more. And one more time on these givers. And then let the arms fall gently to the side, finding a nice, good, upright, comfortable posture. And we're breathing steadily. Moving along, we're going to do some gentle massaging of ourselves. So if you've ever seen someone do foam rolling, or if you go to a massage, human touch, human contact helps to sort of break up scar tissue. It's called myofascial release. Generally, we could do that to ourselves. And so we're just going to start doing some gentle taps with our hands, and we'll move around some variations on that. It's going to get our shoulders warmed up, get us engaged, get the blood flowing. When we tap gently on ourselves, it helps to bring the blood to the surface of our skin, gets everything warming up. So that's just the idea behind this next warm-up move. We're just going to start right out in front, just a gentle tap of the hands coming in. So I have two fists, and I'm just gently tapping towards the center, sitting upright, nice, good posture. Just gently waking the body up, getting the blood to move around a little bit more around our body. Then we're going to open our palms, and we're just going to, in between our thumb and our forefinger, we're just going to do a gentle light tap there. And then you could switch and sort of go the other way. So I just change which hand is on top. Again, a gentle tap between the thumb and pointer finger. Then we're going to have our left fist open and our left hand open. Our right hand is going to make a fist, and we're going to gently just tap in a little punch on the sort of ball of our hand here. So where the thumb connects with the wrist, there's sort of a little ball there. We're going to just be gently tapping on that. So a lot of these are sort of pressure points, acupuncture points in some ways, and just some gentle stimulation is getting the blood moving, waking our body up, and helping any hand tightness, hand pain that we might have. Let's switch. So we're going to open the right palm, and then we're going to do a little gentle pulse on the open right palm. Again, we're sitting upright and alert, a little meditative posture here. And then we're going to tap the sort of heel of our hands together, the bottom of our palms, just a gentle tap right there. Good. Then exhaling, you could let your arms fall to the side, wiggle things out. So that just loosens up our hands and our fingers. If your hands get tight, your wrists get cranky, doing a little bit of that 5-10 minutes a day can help you a lot, maybe to loosen up some of that tightness. But we're going to keep moving down our body here, and we're going to do our nice hamstring stretch progression. So we're going to kick our left leg out. Our left heel is going to be flat on the floor, or our left heel is going to be on the floor, toe pointing up to the sky. We're at the front of our chair. We're going to gently bend over at our waist, keeping good posture. My chest is still up, feeling a good stretch through the hamstring, which is the underside of this big thigh muscle here, and down into the calf even a little bit. If your toe is pointing up, you'll feel that calf muscle stretching. And then sitting back up in a good posture, we're going to kick that right leg out, right heel on the floor, right toes pointing up to the sky. Nice stretch through the hamstring as we bend over gently. Our chest is still open. Good posture, tall through the crown of our head. Feeling a nice stretch through our hamstring and down through the calf muscle. Breathing deeply and steadily throughout. And then let's switch one more time. We're going to go a little bit deeper into the stretch. So kick that left heel out, toe pointing up to the sky, bending over gently with that stretch. We can support ourselves with our hand, but we know we got good posture still. And then we could take our right arm, reach up overhead, starting to work some of the thoracic extension, trying to look right up directly overhead towards our hands. Breathing steadily throughout, getting deeper into the stretch as we're comfortable. And then exhaling, you can let that arm come down. Let's go to the other side, kicking the right heel out, toe pointing up to the sky. Nice stretch through the hamstring, nice calf stretch, good bent over posture. As that stretch feels good, we could go a little bit deeper, reaching up overhead, getting some thoracic extension involved, legs still straight, breathing steadily, looking up at my palm. And then exhaling, let that arm fall over to the side. Great. One more moving down to the bottom of our body just to get warmed up, our proprioception going, our sense of spatial awareness and balance. We're just going to do some gentle circles with our heels on the floor. So depending on what kind of floor you have, this might be more or less smooth. If you need to pick your foot up off the ground a little bit, that'd be great. But sliding just gently around the ground, making as big circles as we can. Remember, our posture is always good. We're engaged through our core, sitting up nice and tall. Let's go to the other side. And let's try to go in the opposite direction with this leg. I forget what direction I was just doing, but try to go the opposite way. Good, and then opposite direction with the other leg. Good, pause there. That's a great conclusion to our warm-up. We should be good to head into our 5 rounds or 5 seated exercises here. As always, my favorite, 40 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest. I'll call those out for you. Being gentle and adaptable with the movements as you go, listening to your body to know when you can push yourself, adapting the movements as you need to. Here are our 5 first movements. We've worked the clamshells before a lot where we push out. We're going to push in now. So there's not going to be as much movement, but we're going to place our fists together in between our knees. And we're going to do, let's say, 7-second, 8-second pulses where we squeeze in nice and hard for 7 seconds and then release for 2 or 3 seconds. We'll do about 4 of those for 40 seconds of work. The next one up is going to be leg extension with overhead reach. So if you're still warming up and you just want to do a leg extension for now on the first round, that'd be a fine adaptation to put in. And then maybe by the second round, you're getting into the overhead reach with the opposite arm. So opposite arm, opposite leg. That's our second move. Third, lots of bow and arrows coming today. We're going to do our nice bow and arrow movement, shooting off to the side here. We'll do a second round of that with our standing, and we're going to add a squat into that. Fourth movement is going to be heels to toes. So we're going to kick out to our heels, coming up into our toes. Kick out to our heels, coming up into our toes. As far as we have for range of motion on that feels comfortable. We'll talk through that more as we go. Fourth is going to be, or fifth movement is going to be stir the pot. We'll start in nice and tight, and we'll get a nice big round stir the pot going, imagining that there's a real thick thing we're stirring. So we got to work really hard getting all those core and shoulder muscles engaged on those movements. Those are our 5, 40 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest. We're starting off with adductor push-ins, sort of the opposite of those clamshells we do. Let's bring our fists together, 2 closed fists in between our knees. We're pulsing with a hard squeeze in, pushing our hands together for about 7 seconds at a time. I'll call out some loose intervals, but you could also do it on your own. Let's start together in 3, 2, 1. Pushing in nice and hard, good squeeze. Okay, little pause, little break, coming back and do another squeeze for 7. However long, if you get too tired, if it gets to be too much, you could take longer breaks, or if you're feeling good, keep squeezing, keep holding on. Let's take a little break there. Coming back together, squeezing again. And then let's take a little break one more time to finish strong before we rest. Squeezing in on those two fists. And we're pushing for 3, 2, 1. Excellent. That's the first round. Again, start to feel out those intervals on your own. What's the best work to rest ratio in terms of squeezing those adductor muscles? Next up is going to be leg extension with overhead reach. We're good, nice, good posture. I'm still sitting tall through the crown of my head, reaching up nice and tall. If you're still warming up and just want to do leg extensions this round, that's a good way to extend the warm up and make sure you're ready to do the full version next round. So let's jump into that together in 3, 2, 1. Reaching up nice and tall, trying to get over directly overhead. Good posture. Deep breathing throughout. And let's go for 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Leg extension with overhead reach, sitting nice and tall. Good squeeze in our quad muscles. Next up is the bow and arrow. So nice, good, strong posture. Really using those back muscles to pull. Imagine there's a nice, strong bow right there to pull. Pull your bow and arrow back. Give a good look through your sight, down your line. And then go to the other side, get a nice flow with it that works with your breathing. And we'll do that in 3, 2, 1. All about the mind muscle connection here. Feeling a nice flow, but feeling all those back and upper shoulder muscles turning on, getting nice and strong. Working our neck both ways as well. We're able to look to both sides nice and confidently. We're still sitting upright with a good posture. Deep breaths and big smiles on our face. Let's pause in 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Good job. Next up is going to be heels to toes. So it might start off gentle, just moving close range of motion. But as we get into it, we could reach out further and make it more of an exaggerated movement, whatever feels most comfortable. Supporting yourself on the side of the chair as we go. And then you could even start to reach out a little bit more and take the hands off if your core feels nice and strongly engaged. So various options there. Feel out what range of motion is best for you at this moment. And let's jump into that in 3, 2, 1. Coming out to the heels, coming up to the toes. Out to the heels. You can't quite see my toes, but I just come up and I'm just balancing right on top of the toes, right underneath. Good posture. Deep breathing throughout. If you take those arms away off the side, gets the core involved a little bit more, but you could always go back and reach those if you want. Let's pause in 3, 2, 1. Excellent. That's our fourth move. Fifth move, we're going to go. So I remember, I'm going to just choose now. We're going to go clockwise. So I'm doing a clockwise motion for stir the pot. We're going to start in nice and close, small circles over the course of the 40 seconds. Get farther out, get a bit wider. Really imagine that there's a big, thick pot of gravy or soup or whatever it is that you're stirring, that you're working against. Let's go clockwise together. Next time we'll do counterclockwise. So let's go in 3, 2, 1. Starting in nice and tight, but still imagine it's very thick and that you're working against good resistance here. And then over the course of this 40 seconds of work, start to make that circle even bigger, reaching out farther. Getting a nice big circle going. But again, using that mind muscle connection to make those muscles work really hard. Working hard for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. That's our first round of seated exercises. Always a good time to grab a drink. I know as the heaters kick more and more on in places, that dry air coming through, I need to drink a lot more water. Seems every season there's a good reason to drink water. In the summer, we're sweating a lot. You need to drink dry air in the winter, spring allergies, whatever it is, we got a reason to drink lots of water. So this is a good time to take a nice big drink and treat our body well. Good time for a little break as well. But in a few seconds, we'll go back into our 5 exercises here. We got the adductor push-ins, leg extensions with a reach overhead, bow and arrow, heels to toes, and we got stir the pot. 5 great exercises, working the whole body here. Let's get back into that together. Starting off with those adductor push-ins. We got nice, good posture, big smiles on our face, hands coming together into 2 fists, going between our legs. Let's start with a nice, strong push-in in 3, 2, 1. Again, 7-8 second squeeze, then take a little break if you need to before you come back for another squeeze. And exhale. Or release. I'm thinking about exhaling. Coming back into a squeeze. And release. 2-3 seconds. Coming back into another squeeze. One last little break for a final squeeze. Coming back in, last push here for 10. And pause. Excellent. That was our first move. Next up in 20 is going to be leg extensions with an overhead reach. Try to start with the opposite leg arm combo that you normally do if you often start on the same one. I know I go for my right hand usually, so I'm going to start with my left hand just to keep things in balance. And let's do that together in 3, 2, 1. If you were just doing the extensions last time, good time to work in the overhead reach. Keys here are nice big squeeze in our quad muscle, full reach overhead, trying to find that good posture. Five more seconds here, getting some good contractions in. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Our second move there. Third up in 20 seconds is going to be our bow and arrows. Shaking everything out in between, getting loose, feeling happy. The energy's coming in. We're getting warmed up. Hopefully you've got a little sweat crack. Breathing's getting heavier. That's what we like to feel. And we're going to get into our bow and arrows here in about 3, 2, 1. Coming over, looking through our sight. Nice strong squeeze. Hold that bow and arrow for a second. Make sure your target's lined up and then release. Another 10 seconds here. Three, 2, 1. Excellent work there. We're coming around to our heels to toes. Trying to keep a nice strong posture, reaching out, kicking our heels out, coming back up onto our toes. That's what I mean by toes, just so you can see a little bit of a different angle there. My toes usually end up getting under my chair, so you can't quite see it. But that's all I mean. Out to the heels, into the toes. And so let's do that together in 3, 2, 1. Whatever your range of motion is that you could reach now most comfortably while pushing yourself, that's what we're looking for. Couple more reps for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. And in a little bit after a little bit of break, we got one more stir of the pot. I'm remembering this time I said we did clockwise. So this time we got to do counterclockwise. So starting off again with a nice tight circle, working the circle bigger as we go, really using that mind muscle connection to get all those core muscles involved, shoulder muscles, back muscles, forearms, wrists, all of that's involved here on this movement. Using our mind to make all those muscles active is what we're looking for our last move here out of the chair. In 3, 2, 1. So starting in nice and small. Working that circle bigger as we go. I remember growing up at Christmas, New Year's particularly, my family's Italian, we'd eat polenta a lot, cornmeal, and my grandma would make me stir it, and at the end you got to stir it really hard for like 45 seconds or a minute or something, keep stirring. It'd be the biggest workout I had as a kid, and that's what this feels like. And so we're going to work hard on that for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Earning that polenta or whatever Christmas meals we got coming up with these or holiday meals, whatever it is you're doing around this time of year. Working that stir the pot movement. Excellent. Those are our chair-based movements. I'm going to adjust my camera. Good time to grab a little drink of water, and then we'll get into our standing movements. Great, excellent. So as you know, we always have our chair here for our support. I'll be moving the chair around. Always good to have it in front of you. All shows the ways you can use it, but I'll be moving it off to the side. It's there for you for balance and support if you need it. If you need to sit down and take a break, totally makes sense and is understandable. But as we feel confident and strong, we're trying to get a little bit of that independence and mobility away from the chair. So we got 5 movements here. The first is going to be our bow and arrow. Before, when we've done it entirely out of this nice crouch position, sometimes called a horse stance. This time we're going to come into and out of it with the movement. So we're going to push up, and you could sort of raise your arms up overhead, and then we're going to come down and sit into the bow and arrow. Standing up, raising up overhead, coming down into the bow and arrow. As you get more comfortable, try to exhale as you go overhead and inhale into the movement down low, getting nice into a deep, nice squat. If that's not flowing or feeling right and you want to just stay in a quarter squat and do the bow and arrow, that's a good adaptation to do for this move. That's the most complicated one we're working in. Everything else we've done before. So next up, we're going to do forward kicks. We can use the chair as we need balance. So my right arm will be on the right chair on the right side with a right leg kick, and we could pull our arm away from support as we need it. Third move will be, we'll stagger the stance similarly. So we'll be doing punches, and I'm going to stagger my right leg back. So we'll do a right kick and a right staggered punch the first round. I'll announce that as we go. Keep us honest. The next time we'll do the other side with a left kick and a left staggered punch. Fourth movement will just be our squats. They're crucial. They're simple. One of the most important movements we do. Nice squat using the chair as we need it. And then I like this stir the pot movement. So we're going to come back to a little bit of a quarter squat, and we're going to do a stir the pot movement out of a quarter squat. If the legs get too tired, we got a lot of squat variations going in here. We could always do it standing up as well as you need it. So those are the 5 movements. That's going to bring us nicely into our poem. So let's jump right into that. We're doing our bow and arrow first. And again, we're working the squat in with it. So coming into and out of the squat, let's start with that in 3, 2, 1. Pushing up, exhaling, coming down, inhaling into a nice bow and arrow. Exhale, coming down and inhaling. Exhale, coming down, inhaling, sitting in the squat with a nice strong bow and arrow. Wherever the depth on the squat you could get to is, if it's only a quarter, However low into the squat you could get, feeling comfortable and confident is all I'm looking for. One more time here, exhaling, deep inhale, hold the squat with the bow, exhaling, standing up. Excellent work. Little break here, guys. Then we're coming into forward kicks. We could use the chair, pull away as we get more confident. After that, we got our punches. So let's get right into these kicks. In 3, 2, 1. Excellent work, everybody. Working hard for 5, 2, 1. Take a break. Good. Always able to grab a little drink in between the quick rounds if you need it. Next up is going to be punches. I'm going to stagger my stance slightly. So my right leg is back, and then we're going to do punches from there. If you want to have your stance straight up, that's fine as well. But this pairs nicely with our kicking motion, which we just did. So let's jump into that in 3, 2, 1. Just steady punches out in front, keeping the hands up for the 40 seconds. Nice flow on this, deep breathing throughout, big smiles. Lots of warrior style movements today. We got our bow and arrows, we got our punches, we got our kicks. And then after our warrior motions, we finish off with stir the pot in a couple rounds because you need a good meal after this exercise. Working hard, everybody, here for 10. Pausing in 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Next up in 20 seconds are going to be our squats, using the back of the chair for support. But if we could pull away and do just our body weight squats, that's great. But the chair can also help us to get a little lower, sort of an anchor point out in front to work a good squat motion. And we'll get into that in 3, 2, 1. Great work out there, everybody. Finishing strong here. Squats are key. Let's work hard for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get the last squat in there. Excellent. 20 seconds of rest. And then I'm going to work that stir the pot movement out of this nice sort of wide horse stance, squat stance here. That's what I'm going to work out of. If your legs are feeling a little bit too fried right now, you could certainly do less of a squat or bring it in totally. I'll let you make that call, knowing your body, listening to when you can push yourself and when your body needs a little bit more compassion. But let's get into that together in 3, 2, 1. We're going to go clockwise on this. So starting off, tight circle, stir the pot, all together here. Starting in tight and building out as we go. Really getting all those muscle contractions going. Imagining it's a big, heavy-duty pot. Nice, far and wide for 5. And break. Excellent. Good work there. A little bit of a break. We got one more round, and then we're going to settle down into meditation. So I might treat these rounds just a little bit more quickly so we have enough time for meditation. Follow along with me, and we'll get through it together. Good time for a quick drink of water. Okay, definitely take the time to rest and gather ourselves, slow our breathing down. But we're going to get right into this next set. Again, we got bow and arrows with the squat rhythm, forward kicks. We have our punches, we have our squats, and we have our crouched stir the pot. 5 movements. Great end to our workout here. Let's do them together. Again, trying to exhale as we stand up, inhale and hold as we get down into the crouched bow and arrow. Doing this together in 3, 2, 1. Exhale, inhale, hold the breath, exhale, inhale, coming down in the bow and arrow. Exhale, inhale, holding the breath down low. Flow with that rhythm on your own for the rest of the time. One more. And pause there. Good. We're going to switch over to the right side of our chair so we can work our left leg kicks and our left staggered punch stance. A little of a break, a little bit of breather. Actively slow your breathing down. Try to calm the body down when we're resting. That's what Tabata teaches us, to actively rest in that 20 seconds. So let's get into forward kicks together, well rested, in 3, 2, 1. Five more seconds here. And break. Excellent. Good kicks there. Again, we could always support ourselves with the chair as we need it. Good reminder. We're going to get into our punches with a left stagger stance. So I've dropped my left leg back. That means my left arm comes up a little bit more leading, but we're just going to get some nice punches, jabs in here. Steady movement for 40 seconds, just keeping the arms up, moving nice and steadily. Big smiles on our face, deep breathing throughout. We know the keys. Let's get into it in 3, 2, 1. Working hard for 10, everybody. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Next up is going to be our squats. Crucial movement, one of the most important. Finishing hard on 2 more sets here. Squats and stir the pot. Let's move right into it in 3, 2, 1. Get 5 more reps in, 5 more squats in. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. One more move, crouch, stir the pot. We're going to go into it in just about 5 seconds. Grab a quick breather, settle the heart. Find yourself in a good crouch position here. And we're going to go counterclockwise this time. One more round. Push it with me in 3, 2, 1. And 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Find yourself back in your seat. I'm going to adjust my camera. I'm going to drop a poem into the chat. If you want to check that out, we'll use this for our meditation. Okay, great work, everybody. We've treated our bodies well, and as always, now it's time to do a little soul work as well, a little spirit work. And I'm going to do, as always, one of my probably 3 favorite kinds of meditation, something like a mantra meditation. The selecting, the choosing, the giving of a sacred word that is then repeated as sort of an anchor or spiritual source of strength, a spiritual comfort in a world that's stormy and crazy and difficult and often trying to bring us down. We can turn to that anchor. I love to use more contemporary poetry with this. I think it speaks to all of our hearts and minds a lot more, but certainly as we enter what might be a holiday season for many of us, different traditions, different practices, different approaches, surely. But if there's a spiritual tradition you find yourself at home in, comforted by, you could certainly apply this same method to those texts as well. And my basic approach is read the poem once for content, read it twice to listen for a spiritual call, a soul call, something that strikes our heart or our mind, something that calls out to us. Not in any sort of an obvious way, but what just strikes you, what arrests you, what grabs you when you hear this poem for the first and second time. We listen for that. We listen to be affected. How is this thing affecting me? Because when we go out into the world, that's what the world can be like. How is the world affecting me? And we notice and we pay attention and we recite that to ourselves with some mindful breathing. And then we read once more for closing. And then afterwards, we can reflect and say, why did that strike me? What does it mean? Why was it hitting me? And then we could allow the meaning of that to blossom, to develop as the minutes and hours and days go by after we do this activity. So that's the basic gist. If it's not a method you find particularly effective, you could just simply do some breathing meditation. But if you get distracted, you could always return to that word or phrase as an anchor to ground your meditation. And so this is a simple poem, but again, as I said, I heard snow might be on the horizon. And so I came across Nikki Giovanni's winter poem. She's a real hoot. At the end of my post, I posted a YouTube video of her reading this poem, I think back in the 60s or 70s, very spoken word style. There's music in the background, but it's a nice little listen. She's very funny. She's a great poet, was related to Martin Luther King Jr., I think. And it's always been her biggest dream to sort of travel to space, which is a funny little thing for a poet to do. But again, basic structure here. I'll read it once. I'll read it a second time. Listen for a word or phrase that strikes your heart or your mind in some way. Chew on that word or phrase by repeating it gently along with your breath. And then as the minutes and hours and days go by afterwards, see why that affected you, see what meaning it holds for you. Well, we could begin by settling ourselves down into a nice contemplative posture. If you like to sit with crossed legs, you certainly can, but if not, your feet flat on the floor, gently upright and alert, sitting tall through the crown of your head, but not uncomfortable. And you could take a deep breath in through your nose. Allow your stomach to expand on the in-breath. Hold your breath for the moment. And exhale out of your mouth. And this is Nikki Giovanni's winter poem. Once a snowflake fell on my brow, and I loved it so much, and I kissed it, and it was happy, and called its cousins and brothers, and a web of snow engulfed me. Then I reached to love them all, and I squeezed them, and they became a spring rain. And I stood perfectly still, and was a flower. So a simple poem, just an image, but with one more reading, listen for a word or phrase that strikes your heart, your mind, or your spirit. Once a snowflake fell on my brow, and I loved it so much, and I kissed it, and it was happy, and called its cousins and brothers, and a web of snow engulfed me. Then I reached to love them all, and I squeezed them, and they became a spring rain. And I stood perfectly still, and was a flower. So any word or phrase that struck you, it doesn't need to be the right one. If multiple did, you can just pick one. But then sit with that and gently repeat it to yourself along with your breathing. If you ever get distracted, just return to that word or phrase as an anchor. And then you can gently open your eyes and return to full awareness. And we'll close with one more reading of Winter Poem. Once a snowflake fell on my brow, and I loved it so much, and I kissed it, and it was happy, and called its cousins and brothers, and a web of snow engulfed me then. I reached to love them all, and I squeezed them, and they became a spring rain. And I stood perfectly still, and was a flower. So a simple image sort of poem. I see when I read this, I just see sort of the different images, and I dwell in the one today I noticed, and where it just says, and it was happy. And just that first moment of a snowflake, I just sort of sat with that moment. Time was a little tighter today. We got into some of the movements, which is fine. But that's a beautiful image to me, the first snow, a gentle snowflake falling. And I just sat with that and chewed on that. And I'll see what that has for me in the coming days and weeks as we go into the holiday season, the winter season. However it struck you, I hope it struck you in some way, is fine. And you could always return to this later, return to it with more depth, chew on that word or phrase for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That'd be a great practice to do sometime this coming week. But I wish you a great Wednesday and hope to see you soon. Thanks for coming by.
Hi, everyone. This is Z from Yonkers Public Library. Thanks so much to Sally Pinto and Alexis and Barbara from Newark. Thank you to our community partners, WJCS, the City of Yonkers Office for the Aging, Westchester County Legislator Ruth Walter, Friends of Crestwood Library, and Yonkers Public Library for making this phenomenal partnership. And we thank each and every one of you for being part of our wellness community. Be well, stay well.